This is the Nathan, Nat and Shaun podcast.
The West Coast Fever take on the Lightning Sunday in the semi-finals. Let's get behind the girls. And Kelsey Brown, by the way, from the West Coast Fever. We are looking for the biggest crowd that we've ever had.
I know.
Great crowd on Sunday because there was 11,821. That's the biggest home and away crowd.
Yeah, we had a record, which was an exciting piece of the puzzle for round 14. We knew during the week that it was shaping up to potentially be a record. And as much as we would have loved to be in the top two, I think it's really exciting that we're back at home this week.
Yeah.
So, Kelsey, as we know, if you are a West Coast Fever fan, you're the Green Army. If you're a fan of you personally, is there a Brown Army?
We can make one. Do you want to be number one ticket holder?
I don't think I want to have that title.
You'll have to fight my mum. You'll have to fight my mum. But yeah, we can make something.
Okay, let's build the Brown Army.
All right. So, Kels, the preparations are going well. You've just mentioned off air, but let's have a chat about it. So you're preparing your body first of all. It's the nails.
Yes. I've gone and got finals nails. All of us have sort of had our nails done a little bit during the year, and some of us, Fran Williams and I actually, she's our star goal defence at the moment. Her and I rocked up to training with the exact same shade of red about 3 weeks ago, and so I've gone something completely different. I've got my star nails.
You've
this
gone
week.
white nail with a green star in there, and those stars look so perfect. I thought that they were stickers, but they're done by hand.
Yeah, they're done by hand.
Freestyle.
Yeah,
Who
she
did
was
them?
amazing. May at Burragoon, Eden Nails. Go out and check her out. She was beautiful. She wanted to know all about my boyfriend. She wanted to know all about everything.
We
She's
all want to know all about your boyfriend. Don't worry about
I know. I can't believe I just said that on air. Anyway, next question.
The thing about nails and netballers is famously, do the umpires still check your nails before the game?
Absolutely.
Do they?
Yes, and when you tell people that, they laugh so much. But
that's a scene from our childhood, but it still happens.
Yeah,
so you don't have a lot of real estate to work with because you keep them short.
And May really judged me on that. She said, long nails. And I said, no, I've got to keep them short for work. And she was like, oh, disappointed.
Sean,
yes.
Do they ever check the nails of AFL players?
They're not doing it in the AFL, but they check the...
But my point is, if they don't, then what would stop you growing some long nails if it's not in the rules?
Nothing.
Well, nothing. You could be scratched, and you'd use them to effect.
Yes.
But everyone knows growing up in juniors and still to this day, you stand out there, the umpire goes past, checks your nails and checks your boots. And it was just one of these things, oh my God, are my
it happened
boots
to you
on?
as well?
Juniors all the way through, and still to this day they'll check their nails.
What are they checking on your boots?
Because some kids would wear steel studs back in the day, more so, not now, but more so, and they don't want people getting really
Maybe
hurt.
during your career, Sean, you could have just grown that one long pinky nail.
You know, in the Asian cultures, they do that.
They do.
Yeah, it's like a spoon. They use it.
Yes, and it shows that you're wealthy and not doing manual labour.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's it. I always thought it was something to do with picking your bum.
Oh, you went there. So
Did anyone think that? Honestly,
Sean
did anyone
thinks
think
it's
that?
a tiny ass shovel.
Not a single person, Sean.
13, 24, 10.
No, Sean, no one's thought of having an elongated fingernail to scratch their ass.
All right, let's talk about the Lightning, because this is going to be game on, as you know, do or die. 13,500, I think, is about the record of people getting to watch you guys play.
Yeah.
So the crowd's going to play its role, but certainly, do you think you're in the form to be able to make sure that you're proceeding?
Yeah, I think when I came in here last week, we spoke about a little bit of a mid-season slump, and I think on the weekend we demonstrated, we're sort of back to where we want to be, and I think for us it's been more about the preparation this week. Yep. Everyone sort of says, oh, it's just another week, but we've definitely gone in and sort of thought, no, it's not. It's a final. It's now do or die, and we have to obviously win every single game from here on out if we want to take out the title. So it's not another week. Dan's stepped it up again, and I think everyone's jumping on board with the preparation for that. Lightning, they're coming off an amazing game against the Adelaide Thunderbirds. They really took it to them, and they're in good form. So it's going to be a tough game. But if everyone could turn out from the Green Army, I'm going to put the call to arms out now.
And the Brown Army, which we're building right now.
Yes,
Nathan,
I think home crowds in netball, they do help so much, especially ours. So it is our 8th player. So if you guys can come out on the weekend, we'd absolutely love to see you there.
The ball movement's going to be a key to this, obviously, but your defence is going to be, and the physicality of the way you play is going to be a key to this. What kind of physicality can you do in netball to be able to make sure...
Yeah,
Well, because Sean, they can't tackle anymore.
No tackling.
But everything but.
Yeah, it's basically, everyone thinks it's a non-contact sport, and it is. But, you can do a lot off the ball. And
what do you like to do?
I think we call
Nipple
it
cripple.
dead ball time, which is when the. Oh, do you guys have that in footy? No. It's when the play's not on and you're sort of doing everything that you sort of can to tire out your player outside of the
jostling
rules.
the
So the
Yeah.
action's not happening to you, but you're shuttling around to try and get them to. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's
and
like-
are they doing that to you as well?
Absolutely, but I think dead ball time is like the most important part of a netball game. It's sort of where you do all of the work. If you're an attacker, it's where you get away from your defender.
Yeah.
And if you're a defender, it's where you wear them down.
This is the Nathan, Nat, and Sean podcast.
You know when kids say, I want to be an astronaut,
Yeah.
but they don't have any follow-through?
Yeah.
We're about to meet a person who did do exactly that. Catherine Bonnell Pegg
Hello, Catherine.
Hey, Catherine.
is an
Hi.
astronaut.
Oh, my God.
Catherine, this is amazing. So you've been through the astronaut training program. You haven't been to space yet, but you are space ready.
That's right, and I'm so excited to have just landed back in Australia and to share all what I've been doing overseas. It's been incredible, and I'm excited for the future too.
Well, I bet.
Beforehand, Sean, the only way you could get into space would be NASA, right? And then,
Yeah.
of course, we have private companies like Elon Musk
Yeah.
and stuff, and they're doing their own companies that can get you up into space. But this is like an official space mission. As an Australian, and you went through the European Astronaut Centre in Germany, can you tell us what that's all about?
Absolutely. So I applied to an astronaut call out of Europe, which is the more traditional, government selection programs, just like NASA.
22,500 people apply for that, by the way. Keep going.
Yeah, that blows my mind still. And once you're selected, you go through what's called astronaut basic training. And at the end of that, which took about a year, you get to call yourself an astronaut. So that year was epic because astronauts have to be all-rounders today, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
Yeah.
we learned about like science, engineering, tradie skills, medicine. We got, scuba diving in pools for spacewalks, centrifuges, zero-G flights.
Did
It was
you do
epic.
the thing?
Wild.
Did you do the thing where they've simulated a problem in the spacecraft, and then you only have these things to fix it with because they're on the flight?
We did that a little bit in the selection, actually. So, because as an astronaut, you have to train for all the things that you expect might go wrong and also all the things that might surprise you. So that's a lot of the training, very
That's
Apollo
amazing.
13 style.
Yes.
It is
Catherine,
incredible.
for everybody listening at the moment, we are looking at you and you're wearing your jumpsuit, which is amazing. Because
Sean,
if that was in a fancy
Sean,
dress,
there
you'd
would,
be
there would
killing
be
it.
nowhere that I didn't wear that to. I would wear that to the shops, to everything.
100%. The other thing before, I was thinking, you applied for this, 22,500 people, as Nathan was just saying, but what was your background to think that this was a possibility or that you were working to this being a possibility?
Yeah, so I've been a space engineer for almost 15 years, but I'm working on satellites and rockets and
No
space
way.
stations, which is awesome.
You're
but it's
amazing.
really was a childhood dream come true, to be honest. So I always was interested in being an astronaut since I was a young kid growing up in Australia, and then never really let that dream go. I was pretty stubborn about it. But the nice thing about the astronaut dream is the fallback options are pretty great. Like you can be a scientist, a doctor,
Yep.
a pilot, an engineer. So I was pretty happy being a space engineer, and this is just that cherry on the top. It's amazing.
And
Well,
what's the likelihood that you will actually get to go to space?
Well, I mean, that's a question for Australia to consider. NASA doesn't just swan in and tap you on the shoulder to fly you. It's whether your country chooses to enter into involvement in human space
We
flight.
need to. We do Eurovision. Oh, this is bigger than Eurovision. This is amazing.
It's great. But even through the training this year, what's been great is that Aussie scientists are now able to get more involved in putting their experiments up just by being trained. And just yesterday, I got out to the Lego store in Sydney and the
Yes.
excitement in the kids.
Yes,
oh my goodness, the
course.
energy was amazing. They were gorgeous. So many questions. And like 7 out of 10 kids in Australia want to be astronauts. Like
It's
we need
amazing,
to harness
isn't it?
that.
We,
Yeah,
we
we
don't
do.
have any
We
follow through
do.
clearly
Yeah,
though,
yeah.
because
But
Oh,
you
no.
can't go. You don't go to
It's just
high
you.
school and they teach you anything about this, and there's no
Sean,
pathway then to go to
there
uni
are
to do
certain
that.
things
Nate.
that are so unreachable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like an astronaut. Like who would ever think? I come from Kalgoorlie. Who would ever think that you could become? Even radio was unthinkable to me.
Catherine's
So.
proven it's possible.
Yeah. But Catherine, I watched this TV show and I'm waiting for the next season to come out. It's on Apple TV called For All Mankind. Have you ever seen or heard of it?
Yes, I have.
Isn't it amazing?
Love space shows.
So basically, it's about the premise of what happened if the Russians beat Americans to the moon and how the space race never would have ended. Now, the one thing that whenever I speak about this show to everyone, a lot of people that I know very well don't believe that we ever made it to the moon. And that blows me away. They go, no, it's conspiracy theories. And then one of their arguments is, when they get out to the moon, did they never go back?
They did.
No. After that whole sort of situation.
Yeah, they went more than once.
Yeah, but why did they never go back? Why did they shut that down?
Catherine, well, what's the answer?
What's the answer?
Oh, so many things to unpack there. So, first of all, we absolutely went to the moon. There were far too many people involved, too many countries involved to keep that secret. And satellites have gone around the moon since from lots of countries and taken photos of the landing sites. You know, I've seen the rocks that are being brought back from the moon. They're phenomenal. But, you know, the reason that we're going back is because we're going back for different reasons. You know, and humanity hasn't been to the moon with people for almost 50 years because back then it was for different reasons. It was the Cold War. It was a lot more expensive. Yeah. They did some science, and then there was a lot more to do in low Earth orbit with the shuttles because there's so much science you can do in microgravity there. We're going back because there's so much to be done now on the moon that we can do with all of our new automation technologies and so on. So instead of going, you know, to the equator part, we're going to the South Pole of the moon. And at the South Pole, there's a lot of things we can learn about the geology of the moon and the Earth's formation. And that gives us major inputs into things like climate change models, into learning to live sustainably on the moon, radiation research, and so on. There's much to be done. And this time we'll go back, you know, as a team of astronauts from a team of nations, not just planning the American flag.
Oh my God, for all mankind is coming real.
We're just chatting with our fascinating guest, Australian astronaut Catherine Bennell-Pegg. Amazing.
I love it.
Catherine, when you gave up your previous job to be an astronaut and the hope of getting to this level, when you go and do all the training which you've been doing for the last 12 months over in Germany, do you get paid? And I don't want to know the number, but is it a proper job that you turn up to and you get paid?
I mean, it's a proper job. So one way to think of being an astronaut, it's like being in defence, right? Like you're doing a job, even though it's a cool job, it's a job for your country. You get paid for it, and it's part of just a cool job that you do. So I work for the Australian Space Agency still. I did before as well. Yep. And that continues. So I'm looking forward to getting back into work there while I continue to keep trained and ready in case I get a flight.
Now, the other thing that we should note is that not only are you an astronaut, you're also a mum of two. Now, how have you managed to do all this? I mean, it's a classic question, but
with a lot of coffee.
It's super impressive. Were there any other mothers in the program?
Absolutely. I was in a class of 6, including myself, and half of us were parents, men and women. And, you know, it's not uncommon for, you know, astronauts to have kids after one flight and then fly again when they have kids. I mean, we're just normal people. I mean,
bit of peace and quiet.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's a whole of family endeavour being an astronaut, just like it is for any like very demanding job, which requires time away from home sometimes. So for this year, my family was with me in Germany. They got to be part of the adventure. The kids love being at the astronaut centre and the mock-ups in the big shed they called it the astronauts playground, and it's a wonderful experience for them too.
It's pretty cool to be able to say my mum's an astronaut.
No one else is going to be able to say that.
No.
Every other parent in that class, their parents are boring compared to the children. According to the children, it's like, I don't want to hear about your mum that works at a shop.
Yeah, my mum's an astronaut.
Your mum's a nurse, yay. My mum's an astronaut. Like, I win.
It's the
Everyone
greatest
stop discussing
playground
it.
flex of all time.
It's incredible.
Are you nervous at all? I don't think you would be, because even the way you answered the moon question, you are so technically involved, and your knowledge base is so big with this. I suppose you've got a very analytical brain about the dangers if they will or won't happen, yeah?
I mean, the dangers are sobering. Like the end-to-end design mission risk is like 1 in 200 that you might not make it, which is sobering. And that's why we go to do important work. We don't just go up there to take a photo. We go up there to do good science and good research that the world needs. But that being said, having designed space stations and being part of the designing the capsule that's going back around the moon, I know the level of dedication and effort that goes into, the work behind those missions. And my husband's a space engineer that's worked on those capsules too, so he'll be feeling the pressure. Should I go up?
Smart. It's your family.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'd be nice to him while he's on the ground still doing all the controls.
Hey, Catherine, what's the physical component to all this and the training component
and the toll
to that?
it can take on your body?
Yeah, it's important to be fit as an astronaut. We don't have to be athletes, but you need certain types of fitness. First of all, they have a long career, so you remain healthy and can keep going to space again and again should you need to.
do, Sean.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, some astronauts are over 60,
Yeah.
but in space, you have to do about 2 hours of exercise a day. There's a little gym up there, treadmill, bike,
And
weights
gym.
machine.
Leg day.
Yeah.
Really?
Because
a treadmill in space?
There is. They kind of hold you down with bungee cords. And yeah, it's important, right? Because in space, your body's the ultimate adapter. You don't need muscles and strong bones in the
Yes.
same way. So if your body sheds that, you won't be able to do things like spacewalks or come back to Earth. So because, you lose bone mass at something like 6 times the rate of a postmenopausal woman.
That's
You
extraordinary,
can
isn't
be
it?
like a guinea pig for medical research for things like
wow.
osteoporosis, and that's an important part of the job.
Yeah.
So even if like your mission goes right, your body is still on the line up there, and that's why you're looked after by a team of flight surgeons on the ground to make sure you're in the best condition possible to get the job done. And actually Australia has some really good space medicine research and flight surgeon capability that's been involved a little bit in my training.
Catherine, one last question before we let you go. Has anyone ever thrown up in space when they're in a shuttle? And if so, what happens? Because
So many times.
really? So what happens when the spew's floating around? What do we do?
Great question as everyone's having breakfast.
Do you not think, Sean?
Yeah, I do
because
think-
that's
I do
naturally
think
one
you
thing that would
scramble
expel out of your
away.
body. That'll be one thing that'll come out of your body that you're not expecting it to. You can control most other
No,
things.
you wouldn't want to have a big night the night
Yeah,
before.
so what would happen?
Well, in space, I mean, if you're to vomit, you probably have to go get it with a bag.
Yeah. Like you're trying to catch butterflies.
But most astronauts actually get sick for the first few days up there, so
Yeah.
it's pretty rough. You're encouraged to take a lot of medication. If you have to take the strongest medication, one of your crewmates has to catheterize you and all sorts of fun stuff. So you don't want to be getting sick. There's far worse things than catching
Imagine
vomit.
me having to put a tube up your wing.
Oh, that is the worst thing ever.
That's just not good.
Actually, let's have a go at it.
This is probably why you boys are never going to be astronauts.
Just for the show.
I can believe it.
Catherine, we could talk to you all day, but we know we've got to
Catherine,
let you go.
I'm so excited for you, and I can just tell
Yes.
you're such an awesome representative of Australia, so thank you.
And fingers
Oh,
crossed
thanks for
that
having me.
Australia pulls a mission
Oh,
together and
do
you
it.
get to go to space.
Yeah,
It's
this
pretty
is huge,
exciting.
Great
Catherine.
story.
Thank you, and that I don't vomit. I need that
No,
medicine.
no.
I know.
You're
And
fine.
where's Catherine? Oh, she's in the cockpit chasing vomit with a
And then
bag.
you don't have to catheterise your mates. Thank you so much, Catherine.
Thanks for having
talking
me.
to us.
Bye, mate.
Incredible.
Nathan, Nat, and Sean in podcast form.
Oh, great to have the big man Sean Darcy in the house. He's
course he
back,
would.
everyone. Slim Shady.
Looking better than ever.
How are you, Sean?
Good guys, how are we going? Good.
Good. Hey, we're just talking off air. Now we'll have this conversation about you being concussed. I was wondering if you were actually concussed, because I know with they put you in a protocols, not necessarily, maybe afterwards you go, okay, I could play next week, but the rules and regulations say that you have to sit out for a game or so. But it affected you straight away.
Yeah, I clipped Jono's hip on the way down and couldn't remember about 35, 40 seconds. Which
So,
is,
and you were out cold
I
for
was
part of that?
About 10 seconds I was out,
Yeah.
and apparently I stood up and JT was yelling at me saying get in the ruck. And,
Josh Tracy.
and I was just, wasn't responding.
And you went, what?
Well,
I'm a
Imagine,
butterfly.
imagine that, like suddenly like coming to, and then there's a game of AFL happening.
Yeah, that's the first thing I remembered. I was like, why aren't I in the ruck? Like, there's a contest.
I remember one
we're
time.
laughing, but it's full on.
Yeah,
It
it's
is
full
full on.
It's
I was in the
Yeah.
showers once with Heath Black. He'd come off the game with at the MCG, and he was concussed. And always apparently he was concussed. Anyway, he kept asking me the score and how we did when we're having a shower. And in the end, I just had to turn everything off and walk away from him because he was annoying me so
Yeah.
much. Did you know you were repeating stuff or asking
kept-
questions?
I got so I played the rest of the half out, then got to the concussion protocol with the doc.
Yep.
And I just kept saying, I was like, just get me to the mids meeting. Like I said it like 15 times, and I was just like, get me to the mids meeting, like. And he's just like, mate, you're done.
You're
Like,
not invited.
Yeah.
Just by asking that many times,
What's
you're
the
out.
mids meeting?
It's the midfield meeting.
Oh.
But so, yeah. So his section with
I
his
thought you had like a
specific
meeting
coach.
to get to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
yeah.
he was like, he looked at me and he was like, what happened? And I tried to make something up that I hit someone's knee or it was in a ruck contest. So he's like, nah, you're out.
That's,
So,
oh, yeah.
yeah,
So
wow.
he knew what had happened to
Yeah.
you and you couldn't tell him.
Yeah, I couldn't tell him what happened.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so they got the video set up straight away, which they need to look at
Yeah,
to then
how
make
does
an
that-
assessment.
Hey,
as part
is
of
there
it.
a number of times you get hit on the head that they're monitoring?
It's a really good question, and this is a good
What
one.
is it?
So they view every contest that you hit your ground, and if you lie on the ground for extended a time, I think it's 5 seconds, they'll review that, and then there's also an independent doctor who sits in with the AFL, and they review that too. And if they think there's a concussion protocol, they'll tell our docs to get him off and sit in the concussion protocol.
Which
So
they've done
adding
with
to
other
that,
players, yeah.
If you've been hit a couple of times or missed games over a number of years from concussion, do
Does
they
it tally up?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Because different people respond differently to that. So, yeah.
Yeah, each is different. Like mine, I was really not great early.
When you say not great, so headaches.
Yeah, and just not yourself. You like,
Yes.
Oh, really?
You just can't like concentrate really well.
How long does that go for?
I was about, when was it? End of the day off, which was about 4 days after.
Yeah.
I was still like,
Wow.
I'm
Still
not
feeling
good.
the
Yeah.
effects.
And so
Yeah.
that's sort of why Brad Shepard's going
Yeah,
down the
well,
legal.
he's a more long-term, yeah.
but Brad's felt that since.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
right.
exactly. Which
So
is
inability
why I
to
couldn't imagine
concentrate,
how them-
especially,
they're
yeah.
doing that now. Like if that's their everyday life, I was getting really frustrated. I was just like, I just want to feel
And you
better.
had it for 4 days, yeah.
So,
There used to be a case where if you weren't back playing, then everyone would suggest you're weak.
Yes.
And I remember a guy missing a number of years, and I'm sure that he is part of the class action, and he might have already copped
Yes.
pay up. And that's what he was viewed like, Nathan. Imagine that now.
Yeah,
So
the
hindsight.
attitude has changed, thankfully. Yeah.
Like I failed the there's a few tests, and I failed like the card one a few times, and they were just like, well, you can't do anything, like you can't train until we pass.
Yes.
It's just like
Tell
no.
us about the card game.
So there's like
Fish?
it's on the computer.
Snap?
No.
What is it?
It's on the computer, and it there's 4 sections. It's like red or white, red or black. You got to say yes or no on the computer. And then it's, have you seen this card before? That's a tough one. You see like 40 cards and you're like,
Yes.
have I seen it?
So it's
I was
kind of
like,
like a memory
so
game.
flash.
Yeah, it's memory.
You need to go, was this card in that?
yeah, and I was like, I play
come on.
cards. I've seen all of them before.
Can't do
but
that
like-
with all my wits about me.
And then there's reaction time, has it turned over? And then it's, is this the same card as the last one? So it goes for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And you got to concentrate pretty. Yeah, the have you seen this card before hurts. I struggle with that when I'm not concussed, let alone when I am.
You've seen this card.
It'll be good to have you back. Caleb Sarong said during the week for the Starlight game that is this weekend that you're a real barometer for the team.
Oh,
He had
that's
nice things to
nice.
say about Alex Pearce, but he was really concentrating on you.
That's nice. Thanks, Seva. I'll tell him for thank you. Training.
Do you tell everyone how important you are to the team?
No,
you tell
no,
us.
I don't.
You tell us.
No. It
You
was
said
pretty
you
frustrating.
you walked in today and you said the Dockers
Yeah.
return.
Yeah,
That's exactly what
they
I said.
can't do without me. That's what he
That's
said.
what you said.
He said, did you see what happened on the weekend? I wasn't there. That's what he said.
Join the dots.
Pretty full on.
Tell us what you know about the flight back from home. Was it uncomfortable? The players just don't really
yeah.
care too much.
They don't care. Half the boys are pretty cooked sleeping, but yeah, when I got told that about, I think it was 45 minutes in, the announcement came around that they couldn't go to the toilet anymore.
Were there any women on the flight? Do you know?
Yeah, there was.
There were.
Yep. So
What did they do?
no one went to the toilet.
Just
so-
cross their legs and hope for the best.
I suppose so, because you know what? You don't like, especially for the women. I'm guessing they'd be slightly embarrassed to know that you'd walk out of the toilet and everyone knows that you just had your ass up on the sink.
But also, like, there's stuff above the sink. It's not even physically possible, I don't think.
You got the tap pointing in your back.
What do you do? Do you lean into it or?
It's not good.
It's the Nathan, Nat, and Shaun podcast.
Joined by special guest Adam Thorne from Kings of Pain on 7 Mate. You're not normal. We've established that, Adam.
Not at
But
all.
neither are we, so
No.
welcome.
Yeah,
But,
I'm in
Adam-
good company.
But Adam, you were just saying that, like, you just grew up in the suburbs here, and you're
Yeah.
just interested in animals. So the first job you had out of school, or heading towards dealing with animals, how did that occur?
Well, I mean, during school, I used
Yeah.
to wag and be at the bush.
Trying to catch goannas and stuff.
Yeah, snakes, you name it. I got bitten by a tiger snake when I was like 14.
That didn't put
trying
you
to
off?
carry it home. No.
Did you?
Yeah, I was trying to carry it home and it bit me, and then I put it down. Went, I should probably get to a hospital, but I really want to take this snake home, so I picked it up again. I was walking home and I was like, I should probably get to a hospital.
What happened to you when you got bitten by after a while?
Tiger snake.
By a
One
tiger
of the
snake.
most poisonous snakes in the world.
Yeah. So they're probably like number 4 on the world's
Yeah.
most venomous list. But luckily, 50% are dry bites. So I went to
so
the
yours
hospital.
is-
I'm like,
yeah.
and they're like, no, I don't think it injected you with venom. So I was lucky.
Did they believe you?
Well, yeah.
Did you have
yeah.
the snake with you? Were you like, here, this
Yeah, no, they don't like that. But no, I had the puncture marks and everything.
Yeah.
So it bit me. It just didn't inject any venom, luckily.
I went to school with a girl who was bitten. Yeah, I grew up in the country, and she didn't know she'd been bitten. So she was on a farm, threw some grass, and then she started feeling a bit unwell, and they found the marks on it. She was very ill for some time. She survived, but she was very, very ill.
Yeah, if you get anti-venom,
Quick enough,
your chances of survival is like pretty much really high.
I'm very curious. Where is the most painful part of the body to get bitten? Because
Are you thinking like tattoos?
Yeah, like like when you get an injection, it's in your backside. There's a bit of meat there. Like, do you want a bite in a meaty place, or do you want it more on like an extremity where potentially nothing else is getting?
And you can lose it.
Yeah.
Straight off.
It depends on the animal, because if you are like putting really long spines in your body, you don't want it in a meaty part because that's muscle, and you don't want to damage muscle and disable yourself. But there are parts of your body that are super sensitive, like fingertips.
Lots of nerves in your fingertips, obviously. Yeah.
Yep. Apparently getting stung on the lip is really bad, but
good to know.
Yeah, I haven't done that, but we've done hands and fingers. We got bitten by a centipede on the leg. We had to shave each other's legs for that. That was the worst part of
Sexy.
it.
Shaving each other's legs,
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
not
horrendous.
getting bitten, but shaving one another's legs
the
is the bad bit.
shaving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything, like, is there sort of the goal, the holy grail of things to be bitten by that you're waiting to do?
We really wanted to do, we wanted to do the electric eel, which we did on season 2. That was really fun. But we really wanted to do the blue bottle Portuguese man o' war.
Yeah.
But they weren't in season when we were doing it, so we couldn't get any, because I think just on camera they look so cool.
Yeah, take us back to the electric eel. Okay, were you swimming with it? You were in a pool with it, or did you just take it out? Had it in the? How did you do it?
We had it in a.
Were you wearing thongs?
We were wearing rubber-soled boots actually, but so they're most dangerous when they're out of the water and dry, because you get because the water kind of disperses the electricity.
Yeah.
So it was in a tank, and it was a big eel. And we had like electrodes connected to us so they can monitor our hearts.
Yes.
And a little sound thing. So every time the electric eel send off an electric shock, the speaker will go.
Oh,
so it's
okay.
super scary.
No.
But we got hit by it. It was amazing. I would do
So
that
is it
again.
like touching an electric fence? Would that be?
It's worse
than that.
It's like
What's the voltage?
yeah, like they can kill people.
Yeah.
Well, I get
so
that.
it's more the amps that will kill you.
Yeah.
But just certain circumstances changes the amperage and the voltage.
That's amazing. That's an animal that's getting off that electricity through.
Yeah. It's freakish,
just
isn't it?
Being able to,
Yeah, the way their organs
Generate
work, they've got 3 organs in their body that produce electricity. They're like little batteries lined up, and each one releases small charges, but when they're all lined up, they get a massive charge out of them. And that's what blew me away the most, like, not intended.
Literally and figuratively, yes.
Was just feeling the power and going, that came from an animal.
Yeah,
Like, what the hell?
that is wild.
It's amazing if you hooked up your house to a couple of eels and you just had a tank off to the side. It's so fortunate.
It's the new arm of Pleco. That's what they're going to do next.
That's the new Pleco system.
I've heard that platypus spines are really painful. I mean, they're hard to encounter. Not many people do.
Yeah, so that was one that we sort of tossed
the
around
list.
the idea of, and then we don't know, because the males have venomous spurs in their back legs, and the pain can last for years.
Yes, they do
apparently.
say it's. Yes. Did you not know that?
No,
Seabass?
when I'm looking at the photos now, I'm like, where is a spine on a
Yes, it's on their back
platypus?
legs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, and they're massive, so the mechanical damage would be huge, because that would go deep and
Yes.
tear you open. But the venom,
So you're scared of the platypus? Is that what you're saying?
no, I'm not scared. I just don't feel like it.
Adam, this is incredible stuff.
I know.
Mate, what you put
I know.
yourself through. It's
do you
very
sometimes
interesting.
just look at your life and go, "What am I doing?"
Yeah. We were on Celebrity Gogglebox in the US,
Yeah.
and Ozzy Osbourne was like, "They're crazier than I am,"
I
which
mean,
was awesome. I was like,
that
That
is-
is a bat, right?
that's something.
That's saying something,
Yeah,
isn't it? I
yeah.
mean, that puts it all in perspective.
Yeah.
All right, check it out, everybody. Adam Thorne on Kings of Pain.
Oh, my God.
If you do just want to see somebody suffering by their own hand, basically, it's all his own fault. Thank you so much for coming in, you
Thanks,
giant
Adam.
No
freak.
worries.
That's
Thanks
just
for
you're the
having me.
weirdest person I've ever met. But we love it.
This is a podcast of Nathan, Nat, and Shaun.
The Good Food and Wine Show is back, celebrating its 23rd year, and we love it because it brings this man to town. Miguel Meyer.
I can put my headphones on.
Put on your head. I know. And then back to front.
I can put the headphones on.
Oh my God.
I can. Someone give me a hand, please.
Nathan,
I'm a
help
celebrity. Get me out of here.
Help him.
This
Miguel,
teach me on.
great to have you in here. Good Food and
you
Wine
so
Show's
much.
always brilliant
Don't worry
too.
about it.
Yeah.
Oh, look at
So
this.
Can't even hear it.
Miguel's already slammed Sean because he asked Sean about the swimming.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
Sean, you had a question.
Well, I've been swimming in the pool, Miguel, because you get the shit swell. Sorry for
You
the
say
language.
swell or sugar?
Yeah. The swell coming in, and there's seaweed everywhere at this time of year.
What do
'cause
you
it's
think
winter.
about pool swimming?
Pool swimming, I think a little bit of.
He's just waggling his
He's got his little
tiny
finger
little
wiggling his little
finger.
finger.
In the pool, you don't get to feel the waves. You don't get to feel the sharks. You know the
sperm whales.
What's whales? You got some of them, all right? The calamari, the giant calamari.
You're too safe, is what you're saying. You're too safe.
No, I just
There's
like the
there's
wilderness.
Yeah.
I like
Yes.
to find the sets, and
In the wild.
And you know what is amazing? I mean, only people that swim in the cold ocean understand this. So it's just a two-way conversation, I think, here.
Yeah, not me.
But I think it's just that coldness, the speedos, the morning, the freshness. It just get you pumped.
Aren't you
for an
frightened
amazing
of the
day.
seaweed?
I thought you were frightened of the speedos. I mean, after a cold day, it's quite frightening to get out of the ocean. It's like, whoa, what happened? What is it?
I'm not a Speedos person, but there was a week-long challenge when I was in the Big Brother house where we had to be lifeguards and we all had to wear Speedos, and I've never been, I was pulling my top down the whole time. Yeah, it was
Because
horrible.
it's quite,
it's a lot.
It's quite confronting sometimes how people is so brave to wear the speedos. I think it's a distance of 3
What
meters.
about the people that have to look at him?
I know, but 3 meters. That's what I mean. It's 3 meters maximum of the shore. After that,
Off the
you have
shore.
to. Yeah, you cannot
Nah.
have
Yes.
speedos. I mean, woolies
Agree.
walking around.
I
It's
thought
like,
you meant you
oh,
need to have.
can you pass me the onions? Like,
I thought you meant you needed to be packing at least 3 meters to wear them,
there's a lot of packing.
So
like a sleeping bag.
you swim every day, don't you?
Yeah,
you're a daily cold water swimmer,
As
ocean
long
swimmer.
as I'm not traveling to beautiful
Yes.
Perth to the Good for One show,
Yes.
yes. But I try to. In Manly, it's a beautiful break from Manly Beach all the way to Shelley Beach.
Yeah.
You know, I saw your face. The beach, not the other beach. From Manly Beach to Shelley Beach is a lovely swim, and you can see the wildlife. It's a group of 50, 60 people together. They call the bold and beautiful.
The bold and beautiful.
Because it's
you
just
know,
perfect for me. I'm getting bold now, so it's just perfect for us.
Did I see Cameron Dado swimming with you the other
Cameron
day?
Dano is with me in the morning, the silver fox. He's there with these speedos too.
So, Miguel, down at local beaches to us is
Yes.
the polar bears, because they swim
Yes.
all year round. There's another one called the pod squad, which is a mad group of people. They're all year round as
Yeah.
well. But I just think gets to winter.
Yeah.
But I've got to say, though, a lot of people I know, well, not a lot of people,
like
there's
the
7
polar
people
bears.
I know who are doing the English Channel. One's
Yes.
just done it, and the rest of them are still training. So they're in the river every morning getting
With
wintered.
the bull sharks.
Oh, that's a little bit sharky, isn't it? I think in Perth it's an extra layer of courage.
Yeah.
That's
So
it.
you're not doing
Because
that.
we are one of the
big
shark
one.
capitals of the world.
Yeah. Well,
We are.
there was a shark attack just the other day.
Yes.
A guy, he survived, but he was bitten at Trig Beach, just literally a couple of days ago.
And this is how.
So anyway, do you want to go swimming?
This is how normal it is for us now. He just got out of the water, drove himself to hospital, and the shark's tooth is still in his leg.
No!
Yeah, he said he was waiting for it to pass up so he could then
Yeah,
find
stop
it.
it come out.
What?
Yeah, we just drive ourselves to hospital. Sometimes you got a shark still on you, and you just drive yourself. Just sharks hanging out the
And there's
window.
people from Perth, they're tough. I mean, look at this bloke with the shorts on.
Harry
Stand
and
up, Harry.
Sean.
This is
Oh,
Harry and
this.
Sean. But
I'm
Sean
so
complains
tough.
about the
I'm so
cold
tough.
all the time.
So Sean, we've confiscated this. So this is
This
his
blanket.
nano blanket. So Sean comes in acting tough as Harry does, and talking about how he's not going to be wearing shorts
All winter.
He's not going to be wearing long pants, but he complains about the cold, and then
and
he puts
puts
this
a
over
rug
his
on it.
leg.
And it's like, we've got a solution. Wear long pants like
But
a
what
grown
about,
up.
like, how you going to get warm with this?
Yeah.
There's a lot of perforations. A little more perforation, a little more action, please. Look at this.
Not bad, eh? Not
Not
bad.
bad. This is proper nana material.
This
isn't
is
it?
from Chris Marston from the West Coast Eagles. His beautiful Nana Frizz made that for
Oh,
Sean.
really?
Yeah.
I mean, I had
True
it
story.
right in.
You look like you're going to use it in a bullfight, actually.
Can I ask you how wild you were going when Spain won the Euros?
It was the craziest day for a Spanish sport ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got up at 5 a.m. in the morning. I was so ready. It took me like half an hour just to set up the screen to watch it because I'm not very good with it. So I was freaking out already. But just to see the Spanish scoring the first goal.
Yes.
And after see the English.
Did you have people around at your house
No,
for this?
it was just me
you?
screaming. I said, I don't want to wake up the family. And within 1 second,
So
everybody
just
was
screaming
awake.
into a pillow.
I was by myself with a Spanish flag screaming in my own.
And we're joined by the one and only Miguel Maestre.
Speaking of choritos, I bought some of yours the other day at Woolworths because that's where it's sold. I
Yes.
thought it'd be bigger. It's 200 grams.
Well, size does not matter when it comes to chorizo. I mean,
Yeah, just imagine it tapping you on the shoulder, Sean.
Our ones are made of free-range pork. Free-range pork is the pork is having a holiday and having the good times.
Getting a massage every day.
Getting like
Can I ask
spa.
you on that? Did they come to you and say how big does it need to be?
No. I decided how big I want it to be.
Did you? Yeah.
This conversation is going to mysterious
It's a standard
roads.
chorizo
It was
size.
200 grams,
Was there did the Spanish have a standard size?
This is the best conversation I have in my life. I'm going to tell you, that's a very good question.
Thank you.
That is actually a really good question. In Spain, is different kinds of chorizos for different regions.
Yes.
Okay, this story is writing itself.
No, we love it.
So, something called choricitos.
Yes,
They're small
little
chorizos.
ones.
So that's what
they
you
about
have.
30 grams. That's mea culpa. 30 grams is a choricito.
Okay. 30 grams.
After is chorizo bites. They're like 10 grams. They are little
that's yours.
Yes.
cashew nut looking thing.
Yes.
And after you got the golf ball, 30 grams choricito. And after you go to your 50 grams choricito and the 100 grams chorizo, that is the one you normally use for cooking or barbecuing.
Yes.
Yep.
If you go bigger than that, because it's a big log chorizo, it's the one that is cured for longer, and it's the one that you slice in the slicer.
Yes.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
So you can get serious cajunas like that, but like chorizo that is being hung and cured.
Yeah.
So fermentation transform the flavor of the meat, the paprika, the peppercorn, and everything and it's the one that you're more used to, like salami style, that gets sliced in the delis. So, I mean, to answer to your questions, is many different sizes of chorizos, all to be enjoyed very thoroughly.
Well done.
Hey,
well
I
done.
want to talk to you about food trends. At the moment, I was talking to these guys about how it gives me the absolute shits that everyone has decided to use their special ingredient at the moment, Biscoff. It's just like, oh my God. It's like, oh, there's something new coming out, and straight away, without even knowing, I go, oh, let me guess, it's Biscoff. What do you think about food trends?
You see, that's actually a great question too. I mean, Sean, now you
Lift your
probably
game.
ask a few, lift your games. I mean, the swimming conversation was great, but your questions weren't
Yeah,
as good
I know.
as these guys.
I was warming you up to this
I know,
one.
yes. I think food trends is like any trends. I mean, I'm a traditional cook.
Yes.
I have trained in the highest cuisine. I have worked in the best restaurant in the world, and I have worked in my mom's kitchen. You know, so I got the two spectrums
Yes.
of what is food and the
Yeah.
story that tells. I think trends are necessary in a world that we live so fast. So it get things spiced up. I'm always like an old school kind of guy. They like the things traditional.
Yes.
So I think trends are good for the moment. And now with the social media reinforcing all
Yes.
these trends, everybody just want to cook a pasta with a feta on top and
Yes.
you squeeze it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been cooking for hundreds of years just
Yeah,
because
yeah,
some guy
yeah.
put it in TikTok. So
Yeah.
what I will say to all that trends, the great, the fun, embracing them is good. But like, just trying to like don't
Yeah.
learn how to cook in TikTok.
It's like
Yes,
it's
yeah.
like
Please.
fashion, isn't it? In that trends are great, but the classics will never go out of style.
You
So
always go with your
it-
nice jacket or your nice look, and sometimes you can have a pink
Yeah.
jacket, a little bit
Yeah.
of a fashion thing, but like. It's good to stay. I mean, I prefer to stay in what is the traditional
Yeah.
thing and enjoy them. And I mean, 2-minute noodles with Nutella or something like
Yeah.
that. What is the next thing we want to see? Like, there's all these
Well,
crazy
what
things.
is the next thing
Brown
you ask?
water
Well,
and noodles.
What is the next
Okay,
thing?
so-
Segway.
are you ready?
The other day we were talking about what I had for dinner, and I said that I was not feeling very well because I had a couple of days off, and the only thing that I could eat was toast and butter. Right? And then Sean goes, well, that's really boring. And I said, no, I actually take it to the next level. I sprinkle on, I have salt and pepper toast. Thank you.
Salt and pepper toast.
Now,
Never heard of it.
unfortunately for us, we had no butter in the fridge. So this is margarine.
Oh, it's okay.
I
It's
don't
okay.
like margarine.
Don't let a little bit of fire get in the middle of your greatness.
So what I do is, so anyway, Sean was having a go at me for my fancy salt.
He's right up
I
himself.
use the Olsen's
Right
Red
up
Gum
himself.
salt, smoked salt.
Smoked salt.
Smell that. Smell that.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Yeah.
That's some
Have a
serious.
smell
He's
of
making smoked salt money. That's what he's on.
Hello. You
Have you
smell the
seen-
smoke, can't you?
New run ambassador of the year.
I mean, you need to write this down because this is a recipe that could obviously feature on Ready Steady Cook.
Okay,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
okay,
So look, there's two lots.
So you need toast.
So yes.
Yeah, yep, that's it.
Yeah. So if you don't have the smoked salt money,
Yeah, well,
can
you
just
don't-
go-
well,
you
you've
can
got school
actually-
fees to pay.
That's quite expensive, too, that one, man.
Nathan's salt baying right now. Nathan's doing
that's
the
Melbourne
big
salt.
Cost
This
of
is-
living.
the big salt
Spell
bay.
cost of living.
Yeah.
Nathan, Nat, and Sean podcast.
No Gov, no Eagles. I've been saying this for years. Every
Oh.
time Jerry McGovern's on the sidelines, guess what? Can't win
might
a
as well
game.
shut up shop, Sean.
To be fair, they did pretty well last Sunday.
13
Yeah, they
points
did.
was the
I
margin
was
in the
there.
end.
I was there and they played pretty well, and it was a touching tribute to Simo as well.
Yeah, it was nice. The boys responded obviously after a poor week the week before, and yeah, it was good. It was good to see them respond for obviously for the fans, for the club. There's a lot of reasons. So yeah, as much as we lost, we played a lot better footy.
During that, because you're not playing, do you get dressed in your
Civvies,
yeah?
or your
No.
uniform.
And where do you sit?
This one I actually set up in the box because Simo had a
Yes.
box for his last game, so
Oh, nice.
I sat up there. But yeah, normally you wear your normal
Yep.
attire of West Coast attire.
Even though you're injured.
Yeah, you got to
Yeah,
wear
yeah,
it
you
gotta-
because of
Gotta fly
sponsors.
the flag, mate.
Yeah.
Whole lot.
Okay.
Support the boys.
Yeah.
You know what was interesting about the game was that I thought there was a lot of forward handballs and overlap running, more so than I'd seen in recent weeks. I don't know if Jared had said to the team, okay, we're just going to throw it around a bit more, just play a bit loosely in terms of expressing yourself on the field. There was a bit of that. I mean, the centre bounce stuff was absolutely horrendous until the last quarter where you dominated. But the ball movement just seemed to be a bit, what's the right word? Free.
Yeah,
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it did look a bit free at times for sure. We looked like we had a few different modes of moving the ball, but I wasn't in the all the meetings.
He was on
building
the
up to
Nullarbor,
week.
remember?
But from what all the meetings, everything I gathered, it actually wasn't even spoken about. It was
Yeah,
a bit
right.
more about the contest stuff and team defence. So if you turn the ball over in good spots to the ground, it makes it easier for
Yes.
you to offensively get your game going. So I felt like we did that pretty well. So then it probably looked like our ball movement was a lot better. But yeah, it was only a little week and a little sample of it. Hopefully we can continue it for the rest of the year.
It's going to be tough, though. This weekend, everyone's not playing. You know,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
out,
Yeah,
Yoey's out.
Jake Waterman's out.
Yeah, yeah,
Doug's is out.
we've been hit a little bit on the injury front, but at the same time, it's opportunity for these young boys and
Yeah.
to showcase what they can do. So as much as we love everyone out there, of course,
Yeah.
I don't think any of them are too serious. So we should hopefully all be back in the next couple of weeks. So get everyone back on the park and we just keep moving forward.
Do you enjoy Jared Schofield's style of coaching?
Yeah, I do. I've always liked Scully.
Yeah.
He's been at the club for a couple of years now, and yeah, it's good that he's got the opportunity to obviously take the senior role for a few weeks. But yeah, I've always loved Scully. He actually coached me back in the day when I was at Claremont.
Oh,
I was
did he?
playing at Claremont.
Yeah, right.
He wasn't my head coach, but he was one of the line coaches, midfield coach.
Before he took over Subi.
Yep, back way back.
Yeah,
It was
right.
2012.
Dawn of time.
probably.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I sort of knew Scully from then, and then obviously his prowess in waffle footy, and then went
Yeah.
to Port. So yeah, I think all the boys responded pretty well.
And all of the names that have been thrown up for the head coach position, we've heard a fair few of them.
Yeah.
Sean's really gunning for Daisy Pearce.
Give me
Sean,
strength,
you would have
give
put
me
your
strength.
hand up, mate.
I have, yeah.
Is there any
They've been
names
calling
that have
back.
been thrown up that you've gone, oh yeah, that's
Change my
exciting,
number
or
now.
are you just exciting for any opportunity?
Yeah, you can't really get caught up in it because it's not my decision or
Yes.
the players. Like it's the club's decision. So there's obviously players that get thrown up, or not players, past players or
Yeah.
Yeah.
past coaches or whatever get thrown up, and you go, oh, that'd be great. But there's so many of them. Like there's,
Yes.
I think it's just for us to leave it up to the club to make sure they make the right decision on who it is, and that it fits the group and the dynamic and the way we're moving. So you can't really get caught up too much in it, to be honest.
Gov, do you expect that they would have a conversation with you at some stage saying this is the last two maybe, or you might be involved
To
at
get
any
your
stage? And I'm
input
not
at
talking
all?
about just you, but with a couple of
Yeah.
senior players.
Possibly. It won't be a formal.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a
And
formal
you've never
thing.
been in this situation before, so you don't really know,
Well,
do you?
I was
yeah?
with Whoosh,
Woosha.
but I was young.
weren't a
real
senior
young. I was a
player,
kid. But I'm sure it's just a general conversation of like, what do you think of such and such? But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't. Not really. The players and everyone else involved to leave that up to the key stakeholders to make those decisions.
Can I ask you another thing about the game at the moment? We've been talking about the tackling situation all week.
Yeah.
We've seen players come out. Is it confusing?
Yeah.
Especially when they get suspended, then get unsuspended on appeal. You know, it's like, okay, now we've got even less idea what's going on.
Because Andrew Dillon was over here during the week. He said, mate, last year there was 100 people cited. You know, I'm making up numbers here, but it was only... so far this year, there's been 11 suspensions possibly versus so many last year. So clearly the guys know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we know what's going on. I think we just try and adapt, and then something else pops up, and then it's a new. I don't know.
How do you confidently approach the ball then, because you don't know what the ramifications are after doing something that you've done 1,000 times before?
Yeah, it makes it very hard to teach and as a player to know exactly what to do in those situations.
Nathan, Nat and Shaun is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au. Nova.